Happy New Year everyone! Apologies for the amount of time it's taken for me to get around to making an update video, but I've recently been able to get at least a microphone from out of storage, so I thought now was a good time to finally make that update. Apologies in advance for the lack of video footage, as Jester and I currently still have the video cameras packed away. First of all, I wanted to give a heartfelt thanks from the two of us for those of you who have reached out over the past few months either via YouTube comments or Discord. It was lovely to read those messages and reply to those we got the notifications for. They meant a lot to us. They highlight the best thing about having a YouTube channel, which is the community that builds up around it. So where have we been? What have we been up to? Long story short, Jester and I are doing well. We're just incredibly busy with real life demands at the moment, to the point where last year, shortly after the last battle report came out and we were in the process of editing a new one, we realised that we were going to have to make a lot of drastic changes pretty quickly. The reason for this was, unfortunately, we got hit by a slew of medical bills and other life expenses, and it became clear that the only way we were going to be able to survive this was if I was able to secure a better paying position. This channel, like many others, has its origins during the pandemic, at least when we first uploaded our videos, and it was a time where the industry I worked in was suffering, obviously from the pandemic, and I was without regular work, just doing the occasional gig here and there. Thankfully, Jester's income at the time covered our two needs, so we made the decision to start the channel while I had a lot of spare time, just to see if we could eventually make something out of it. By the time we got hit by life's new demands early last year, job prospects had improved, so I decided I needed to seek a full-time position so that we could pay these bills. The old flight school I worked at prior to the pandemic had a position open and were happy to have me fill it, but it was at a campus about 200 miles away from where I was at previously, so I moved out because even with the added expense of renting out a room, Jester and I would be much more financially secure and able to pay our bills, as well as me being able to get the necessary flight time I needed to move on to much bigger and better things down the road. Being apart did mean that 2024 was a bit tough, but as I was working 12 to 14 hour days, most of the time I was too tired to feel bad about things, and Jester and I were just close enough geographically that we could at least spend a weekend each month together, so it wasn't too bad. Towards the end of last year, I was actually able to arrange with my employer to relocate to the campus I was at before, so I could move in with Jester. Thankfully, this was actually pretty easy to arrange as we had some big news, and I'm announcing it now. Jester and I are actually expecting our first kid, which is something we've wanted for a long time. So it was very easy to explain why I had to move back and look after her. That pretty much brings us to today, and life is pretty manic as we get ready for the incoming baby. Those of you who have children will know how busy and expensive things can get at this stage, and currently we're in the middle of preparing our cramped, tiny apartments for the incoming child. At the same time, I'm also busy wrapping up some training for the final qualifications I need for my career, whilst applying for a major career change in the airlines, and we're also looking at potentially moving into a bigger place in a couple of months' time, so we've got our hands full at the moment. So this does beg the question, where does this leave the channel? Right now, to no one's surprise, the channel is effectively on an indefinite hiatus. I was hoping to get the last battle report out for our Kill Team narrative campaign and wrap that up before I initially moved out, because it is 95% complete, but now there's been an addition change, I'm not sure if it's worth it. I might see though if I can find the time if people register some interest in seeing it. Once life is more settled and the two of us have got a regular routine going again, especially with a newborn, we might look into bringing the channel back or starting a new one, as we both really enjoyed the creative and community aspects of running a YouTube channel. Honestly, I'm not sure what kind of content we would make for it though. With Games Workshop making Kill Team follow the Warhammer Underworld's business model effectively, we've both lost interest in the game. Yeah, at home we still play the previous edition, but that's not going to be viable for a channel. It probably also wouldn't feature battle reports, or if it did, they would be greatly reduced in capacity, both in terms of output but also the level of editing that went into them. As you're no doubt aware, several battle report channels have recently closed up shop or have moved on to other types of content. And as, creators who have made battle reports and were known for it, it's not surprising why. A single battle report often took us between 50 to 60 hours worth of work, and that's just not responsible from a financial point of view, as it translates to making literal pennies each hour. And more importantly, it isn't great for your mental health. This is because you have to put in those hours on top of your normal work schedule, and then you lose access to your hobby time whilst you're at it. It becomes that you don't actually get to indulge in the hobby anymore. You're no longer a war gamer or a miniature painter. You're basically a video editor in your spare time. If you combine that with raising a kid, doing battle reports is just not going to be a realistic option for us, at least not how we were doing them. However, once we're past this admittedly exciting upheaval in our lives, who knows what the future could bring. That pretty much wraps things up and gives you guys a brief update as to exactly what the two of us have been doing over the past year. I'm still personally going to be reachable on Discord via the usual Kill Team servers and the YouTube comments, so feel free to get in touch if you wish. If it ever looks like we're going to be able to return more fully to YouTube again, you guys are going to be the first to know. Until then, happy wargaming and may all your dice rolls be sixes.